Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. News that I do want to get to because it does have big picture ripple effects, not only with what happened on Monday night, but what could happen in the class of 2025. And so let's take a moment to chat about Xavion Staton, a top 25 prospect in the class of 2025, who made his commitment on Monday night. Really interesting story, kind of a very late rising player. If you actually watch the live stream, Adam Finkelstein, who does as good of a job as anybody covering college basketball recruiting, he did a good job of laying it out. He's like, dude, this is my job. I'm on the road, 50 weeks a year. And I had never even heard of you until like a year and a half ago. But he's a 7'1" center, class of 2025. He's from Vegas. His recruitment blew up like, dynamite over the course of the summer and was down to 4 schools: Stanford, Michigan, UNLV. He's from Vegas, the local school, and the BYU Cougars. Well, as you can see on the screen, BYU picks up the commitment, top 25 kid, second kid in this class. And I'll tell you what, it is continuing the BYU recruiting momentum from the summer. And oh, by the way, they ain't done yet in 2025. So over the summer, they get Yegor Demon. Over the summer, they get Cannon Catchings. Now, the first mega piece for 2025. And as I said, I don't think they're done. In terms of Xavion Staton, listen, I said it a minute ago, really talented player. Like some guys just jump off the film when you watch him. He's another one. He's like Aiden Sherrill, I said a minute ago. Listed at 6'10", kid's like 7'1". He's huge, but he's crazy athletic. And it's so funny, the stuff that you remember as you prep. But I remember years ago when I was at UConn, this was a million years ago, UConn had a kid named Josh Boone who ended up being a first-round NBA pick. And I'm not even saying Xavion Staton's like him, but this kid was 6'11", ended up being a first-round pick, played in the NBA for 5, 6, 7 years. I think he might be still playing in Australia. But I remember one time watching a workout with a buddy of mine. My buddy was like, Torres, do you understand how hard it is to find kids that are 6'11", 7 feet, that run and move and jump like him? It's all natural. It comes naturally. It's not forced. There's a lot of kids that are 6'9", 6'10", 6'11" that play basketball because they're 6'9", 6'10", 6'11". This is a kid that plays basketball because he's really good at it, really skilled, and his best basketball is ahead. And so for BYU to lock him in, listen, credit to Kevin Young, credit to that staff, because they are selling what I think is an awesome sales pitch, okay? And every time we talk BYU, I'm going to keep saying it because Kevin Young said it on this show. Everybody only wants to talk about NIL. That is not – the NIL is part of everything, okay? But what Kevin Young is doing is he's basically saying a couple things. He's saying, one, I'm a former NBA assistant. I was interviewing for NBA head coaching jobs. That's not Torres' opinion. That's not Kevin Young's opinion. You can go find it on Woj's Twitter feed. He was, Kevin Young was interviewing for NBA head coaching jobs. He chose BYU. So you're going to come to BYU. It's going to be a family environment. It's going to be a college environment, but it's going to be a pro environment as well. And we've talked about it before. NBA training, NBA nutrition, NBA strength training, NBA meal prep, whatever. But then also, and we've talked about this as well, because I get this question all the time, the honor code. I asked Kevin Young about it, and he said, look, what we tell kids, especially ones that we believe have a chance to play in the NBA and play in the NBA after a year or two of college basketball, we tell them, come here. There will be no distractions. And if you come here and if you there's going to be no distractions, you can focus fully on basketball. And if you do that, there's going to be no questions about you once you get to the NBA. No questions about how you'll handle nightlife, women, money, whatever, because you handled it all at BYU and you came through and you did well. And so Kevin Young said it. We're a serious place. We're about basketball. That's part of how they got Yegor Demon. That's part of how they got Cannon Catchings. And so that is part of how they got Xavion Staton too. This is a kid, I believe, if things go well and things go to plan, and I think they're going to because he's really good, this is a kid that I could see being an NBA draft pick in a year from now. We'll see. It's early. He's quote unquote only a 4-star, but this kid is a fast riser. And I am here to tell you, just watch the film on this kid. It absolutely pops off the tape. And again, credit to Kevin Young. Just one big recruiting win after another since he took the job. Also worth noting, there's a couple other recruiting wins that may be coming down the pike, okay? So we've obviously talked a lot about AJ DeBonsa on this show the last couple weeks. We did 2 separate clips on him. Both of them have done 20,000+ views, so you kind of know where I stand on him. But AJ DeBonsa is the #1 high school player in America. He's down to 7 schools. He's taken all of his visits. Last week, the first crystal ball at 24/7 Sports came in, and I'm here to tell you, I truly believe in my heart of hearts, right now, BYU's got to feel really good, okay? AJ DeBonsa plays high school ball in Utah. He's been to campus a few times, took an unofficial over the summer, took an official a few weeks ago. He's all about basketball. And again, I think that NBA system is really appealing to him. I think, oh, by the way, the chance to play with some really good players is very appealing to him. Xavion Staton is committed. It's worth noting, and I've said this a bunch of times, BYU is the only school that is recruiting both AJ DeBonsa and his high school teammate, JJ Mandequit. Now, I don't get that because if you follow recruiting, JJ Mandequit was the starting point guard on the Team USA team that won every game by like 90 points this summer with Cam Boozer and Jalen Harrelson and AJ DeBonsa and whatever. But I just bring it up because they're the only ones recruiting the teammate. And he loves playing with them, and he's close to campus. And I've said it, and I'll keep saying it. I think BYU's in good shape. I think what'll be interesting, and I think not only is BYU in good shape, what they got to do, though, and this is just my personal opinion, you got to close the deal. Because if you follow this recruitment, you know that AJ DeBonsa's dad has said many times that he does not plan, or he said over the summer, he doesn't plan on committing until February of 2025. Basically, there's no rush, there's no this, there's no that, there's no whatever. What'll be interesting, we're recording this about 3 p.m. Eastern time here on Tuesday, so there might be news coming out here soon. I don't think that timeline holds up anymore. I think he is going to commit early, probably by the end of November, so he can sign in the early signing period. I'm here to tell you, I think he's going to end up at BYU. Now, could somebody make a last-minute pitch or a last-minute NIL thing or a last-minute this or a last-minute that? Yeah, they could. But I don't know that it's going to happen. Right now, if I had to guess, like I know Kansas State has been very active kind of in the NIL recruiting space. He liked North Carolina. Obviously, the Jordan Brand stuff is very appealing. Alabama, everything that Alabama does is appealing. But again, you're holding a gun to my head. I'm here to tell you, I think AJ DeBonsa is going to end up at BYU. By the way, I think it'll be great for college basketball to have him at BYU. It is worth noting, by the way, because people are going to say this is different than the Mark Pope era. Mark Pope, for most of his career, was recruiting to the WCC. It's different, whatever. We don't have to get into that. But I would feel really good about AJ DeBonsa eventually being a BYU Cougar, and maybe sooner rather than later. Should mention, by the way, we'll be making my first ever trip to the Marriott Center later this year. Cannot wait to see BYU in person when they play Kansas in February.